We've had the opportunity to go on about 100 international training trips to almost 40 countries, and there have been some pretty amazing experiences. And as you can imagine, we've made a good number of mistakes along the way. And we hope that you'll be able to learn from our mistakes as you travel and serve in the name of Jesus. You know, I'm always drawn to locally prepared foods at the markets or in a little shack along the roadside. You know, anything fire roasted, a fire roasted rat or fish eyes or zebra meat or anything on a skewer. But it always comes with a thought that it might not be the wisest thing to jump right in and eat it. The general rule is that everything that can be peeled should be peeled, and anything that can't be peeled shouldn't be eaten. And everything else should be cooked, and cooked hard, and it should be prepared recently. There have been a few times when I wasn't paying attention because it looked okay. I assumed it must be fine, like the time someone brought me a cup of Coke Light. It's often difficult to find, and they were giving me a real treat. To make it even more of a treat, they put a few ice cubes in. Yes, I know what you're thinking, but I couldn't refuse them after all the trouble they went to. And since the ice was made with local water, it was probably contaminated. So I decided to drink that Diet Coke as quickly as I could before the ice could melt and contaminate the whole drink. There were only minor consequences for that. But here's another caution. The rules are the same no matter where you are while you're traveling. Unless you're in a place that you absolutely trust to prepare the food for Western sensitivities, just resist the temptation. Even if the food sounds great, like if it's American style pizza or hamburger or chef salad, it might look beautiful and even healthy. But you have a job to do there, and you have ministry responsibilities, and it's not worth risking your effectiveness just to satisfy your appetite or curiosity. Even if you're at the airport. I was traveling back from South America, and I was in the airport waiting for my flight home, and I ordered a hamburger, and the meat was well cooked, and I removed the lettuce and tomato, but decided to use the condiments on the table. And I squeezed some sauce on the burger and decided to ignore the fact that it was off color. I know what you're thinking, and yes, I had a good case of food poisoning. I was miserable all the way back on that 9-hour flight. So many trips to the restroom, and each time making a new promise to be careful what I eat. Proverbs 23:1 says, "When you sit to dine, even with a ruler, consider carefully what is before you." This is a funny verse to think about in this context, but it has some truth. When you sit down to eat, carefully consider what's before you. There is a balance between being culturally sensitive and respectful by trying foods that you've never had before, even foods that may be difficult for you, and being foolish and eating something that you know will make you sick. Be wise, sensitive to your host, and ask God to give you discernment and self-control. Here are a couple of things to think about together. Discuss the implications of being overly cautious or overly adventurous when it comes to trying new things, new foods. What are some of your basic eating rules? Under what circumstances would you put those rules aside? We hope that you'll keep on learning from our mistakes and keep on traveling, taking the good news with you wherever you go.